we back. Another episode, man. Neighborhood CEOs. I'm your host, John. I got my co-host with me, Lionel. Rolling with me. Lionel, man, what's happening with
Good man, happy to be here, bro. Hanging in there, dog.
you? Yeah, man. Hey, we got one. We got a special guest, man. I ain't seen this guy like 25 years, man, but he look the same, man. So we're gonna find out what the secret is, man. He ain't aging, man. He still look like he like 16 years old, man. So hey, he doing something right, man. Lionel, man, you put the you put it together for us, man. So I
Yeah,
let you introduce who we got, man.
yes, sir, man. So, like you said, man, me and this guy go way back. I was, man, looking through some old pictures and stumbled across, a night we all had went out, man, and we met at a time in life where I feel like we were just, man, hungry and just wanted more for ourselves, for our families. Introduced to a lot of new information, man, like the idea of generational wealth and personal development. Man, it just became a very special time, and so he reached out to me recently, and we can reconnected, and definitely want to just shout him out real quick. Whitmore, Merrick, he's on our show today. Want to bless us with information about himself, what he's doing, what he's been up to. The movements that he's been a part of, a pillar in the city of Charlottesville. So, and Weedy, man, we appreciate you, bro. Welcome to the show.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all,
Yes, sir.
brothers, man. I definitely have been watching what y'all have been doing as a recent, and just commend it. You know what I mean? These conversations definitely need to be held, and we need to create our own narrative. And our own Black media is definitely important to me. My mentor definitely embedded that in me. You know what I mean? And so, definitely happy to be here. I'm so happy that we reunited. I feel like it was meant to be. A lot of those times that we shared before were definitely a lot of the things that grew me to the man and the person that I am today, for
Yeah.
sure. You know what I mean? And so again, introduce myself. My name is Whitmore Merrick, better known as Weedy to a lot of people in the community. I wasn't born in Charlottesville, but I was raised in Charlottesville, and all of my mother's family is from Charlottesville. A lot of them are from
Mm-hmm.
Charlottesville. So a lot of them have maybe moved, older relatives have moved about, but definitely here in Charlottesville. And so just to touch a little bit on my background, most of my family was from Page Street. A lot of my grandmother's family were raised there, and my grandmother's family were very big on education. So they taught a lot of people in the community. Definitely influential. Part of my One of my great aunts was a part of the NAACP here in Charlottesville. Miss Josephine Whitsett. And so my grandmother was Dorothy Conrad, my mother, Kim Merrick. My mother was also a teacher. She was more of a secretary teacher here in the community. So definitely got a lot of community ties. My father is from Trinidad. My mother met him in Washington, D.C., where I was born. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was raised here. We spent maybe my very early days there, and probably got here around 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And so my father came here, but wasn't here very long, because of, like, back in that time, it was definitely harder for a Black man, especially a man with an accent and things. And so just really learning why he wasn't present for my future, and absent for a lot of different reasons, is really what's building my story and helping me understand myself a lot better. So that's why I'm giving a little,
Yeah.
diving into that a little bit more. But yeah, he was a welder or whatnot, and he landed a job at UVA, putting in the where their first emergency unit was at, and putting the windows in on those at that hospital and things like that. And then after that job, he couldn't find anything else around here in this area, so started moving back up north. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's where the separation became. And basically moved here because it was crazy in the 80s, of course, in DC. My mother was robbed twice there, one at gunpoint and one at knife point. And at that time, they decided to relocate and come down here where my grandmother had started to really position herself. She was a retired teacher. And so my grandmother really became, like a parent to me, honestly, in our younger days. So big on education and things like that. And definitely still felt the impacts of coming up without a father in the household over those years, and trying to understand myself and trying to, be the man of the house and things like that. So it was myself and my sister. At the end of the day, we went through a lot, without them, and but also like came up together and supported each other real close, over those times. That's how we built that bond. And a little bit more about myself. I got 3 kids. My son Quadir, Merrick Crenshaw, Isan Merrick Crenshaw, and Yuri Merrick Crenshaw. My son Quadir, he's currently in Clark University, so super proud about that. And he was actually born while I was incarcerated, so it has a big impact on my change and what just my inspiration for that generational wealth that you talked about earlier, Lionel. I know you remember that journey and him being there right there with us.
Oh yeah, facts. He was throwing the 5s up.
Yeah, and sis definitely introduced us to that opportunity. So we'll get into that a little bit. But
facts.
I got my 10-year-old son, Isan, and then I got a just turned 6-year-old daughter, Yuri, and they mean the world to me. So that's my inspiration for everything that I do. But a little about the work that I currently do, and then we'll go back into it's a little bit more. But like currently, I serve as a peer support specialist with the city of Charlottesville, and I'm in the reentry field. But I'm also an entrepreneur as well. I have a transportation business. I do wine tours and group transportation and things like that on the side. So definitely always working. And a little like how I got to where I'm at more is exactly what we were talking about. Is really, man, coming home and just trying to find an opportunity, trying to build structure, get a job, just get reacclimated in society when society wasn't as forgiving at that time. I would say like I really had a hard time finding gainful employment. You know what I mean? Had to start from the bottom. Started working at a recycling center in Vanderland Recycling in Troy, outside of Palmyra. And just working there, working myself up, and it was good for structure, you know what I mean, and all of that. But at the end of the day, just barely making it. But just remembering, going to like a Walmart and not being accepted there, trying to, find better pay and things like that. But then when my sister got introduced to the 5 Links experience, I was working there at Vanderland Recycling at the same time. And then within a matter of months, I was pretty much matching my pay that I was getting there at my job. So really just seeing that opportunity and entrepreneurship, and that really inspired me to try to give this to give the opportunity to others that I felt were in the same boat to me, was really how I got into the like community aspect and reentry field. And that's how Freedom for Felons really got started, because we were holding seminars, financial seminars weekly at the English Inn for the 5 links opportunity. But, we were always bigger than just that in itself. We were always just trying to teach people, you know what I mean, and introduce them into something different. And just the biggest thing was just multiple streams of income, And so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's really how I got started.
Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Lonnie.
mean, we gotta break this down because
I know it's
catch
so much in
just to
it. I know
yeah
I'm leaving a lot
yeah.
out, man.
And just to
Yeah.
catch John up, right? But so John, man, 10 years ago we used to do MLM, 5 links, right? So that was
I remember it. I might have
yeah,
passed through. Y'all was having them meetings or something, but yeah, I
yeah.
remember. I didn't know what it was all about.
Look, niggas was avoiding us like the plague, boy. We was on them. We was on them, man. We was running around, and I look back at that time, man, just that sense of like passion for something truly none of us really understood what we was doing, but it felt good being a part of something, but also working towards something. And so that time you saying basically freedom to felons, that's kind of where it was birthed, just
Yeah.
all right. And I remember that time, that just we was doing like just ways to kind of gain attention, not gain attention, but market to other to other people. And like, and I think it was brilliant, right? Because it was a good opportunity.
Definitely.
And you just had to learn how to maneuver and work it. You had to you had to hustle, you had to grind, you had to know how to grind too. So, so no, that's awesome, man. So yeah, that was like, man, that was like a pocket of time from like 2012 to 2013, 2011 to 2013, somewhere around that time.
Man, yeah,
Yeah, so,
we were definitely with them for at least three to 4 years. You know what I
okay
mean?
then.
So we kept running with it. It was, man, it was an awesome experience. I would really want to touch on like how it built so much structure, for everything that I do right now. The leadership, just the entrepreneur skills, like you said, the marketing, the financial freedom seminars and the nationals and the conventions and things like that, being exposed to so many different people. Think it was just MLM people that were doing that, but it was other entrepreneurs that owned multiple businesses that were still streaming their income through there,
Yeah, true.
funneling their income through there. So it was so many different relationships built that I still hold to today that are just, what I mean, priceless, to be honest. So yeah, it was a hell of an experience, especially, I mean, that was really the first business I had, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest. But I always had a entrepreneur spirit as a child. Just always hustling, whether it was taking out the neighbor's trash, whether it was selling something at school, like sunshine sales, things like that, going door to door, shoveling snow, whatever it was. If you ask anybody that knew me, I was always trying to create or do something to make some money. And my
Yeah.
sister's like that too.
Hey,
Yeah.
so man, you were saying in the beginning, man, you was talking about we all got kids, we all fathers, man. That's like the most important thing, man. And for me, I don't really, if I know somebody and I got to do business with them or deal with them, and I know they ain't really doing their job as a father, it's hard for me to even like kind of like conversate with somebody. Like if I gotta, like if we was on here and I just knew that you was like a deadbeat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we would still be able to chop it up, but it's just hard to have a real conversation with somebody when they ain't really taking care of their responsibilities as a parent, man. So when you said you had your son, man, you was inside, man. Like, what that do to you, man? Like, I mean, I ain't never been there, but I can just think about it, man. While you sitting in there, you gotta do that time, whatever it was, and you got your seed out here. I don't know how long, how many
Yeah.
years, how much time you was away from, man. But what that do for you, like mentally, man, while you was having to sit down for a little bit?
Yeah, man, I'm so glad that you asked that question because it was really one of the hardest things in the world. You know what I mean? My son was actually born 2 weeks after I got incarcerated. So I didn't end up seeing my son until he was 4 years old, almost, no, actually 5 years old. So he probably was closer to, I can't remember. kind of blank out on the ages. It's been a while now, which is a good thing, you know what I mean? But he was very young before I was able to hold him, you know. So that was crazy for me. And that was actually one of the reasons why I ended up, you know, stumbling once I was still like on my path to righteousness and building myself back up, and was actually got convicted of something that I wasn't guilty of. But the reason why I pled guilty was because I didn't want to repeat the same thing with my 10-year-old now. Then, you know, so man, just the things that people would do to be out, you know what I mean, the right way to for their kids, you know what I mean? You know, because I believe in integrity as well. So it's just like, you know, if I do something, if I do the crime, I'm gonna do the time. That's the type of person that I am. You know what I mean? But when you've been accused of something and of a charge, you know, that of something that somebody you never met before in your life, you know what I mean? But you're facing up to 15 years or more because of your record, you know what I mean? It's a life-changing decision. So I did what I felt was best for me in that moment, but I still regret, you know, having that case against me, knowing that I was an innocent person in that circumstance. So being out there, time, you can never get time back, you know what I mean? So that's why I stress to people, you know, no matter what you can do to be here with your children is the most important thing that you can do. So everything is a sacrifice for me. I sacrifice for them, actually. You know, I actually live for them. I actually lost my mother as well while I was incarcerated. So that was one of the most closest people to me. So I really lost almost everything, I would say, from being incarcerated, and you can't never get none of that back. So that's my long story,
right.
my long answer to that.
Yeah, no, man, that's real. I mean, definitely sounds like it's looking at what you lost, you know, time with your mom, time with your first son, and then, you know, looking at, you know, what's at risk now, right? You have 3 kids now,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like at this point it's like it's no turning back.
Nah.
Like how has, like, what are some of the changes you had to, how did you go about making those changes? You know, how did you go about, like, you know, what did it take? You know, what did it require from you to, in order to, all right, reform and reshape and
Mm-hmm.
become who you are today?
Really, for me, knowing what I didn't want to be and then seeing
Mm-hmm.
myself almost ending up being that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, me not having my father was the reason why I wanted to be a father in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? And so, but not real, but unconsciously searching for a father figure or, you know, manhood in the wrong areas, you know, led me to those reasons why I was
Mm-hmm.
turning into the person that I didn't want to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really what.
Yeah. So, but, you know, mindset, right? But, you know, like, physically, like, did you have to? I know you spoke on a mentor earlier. Like, do you feel like if somebody was in your shoes, like, what would be like, you know, hey man, you got to do this, you need to do this. Like, anything special is just like, hey, man, just stay away from where you was at and tighten up.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot. It took a lot, you know what I mean? My mentor coming in and pouring into me while I was incarcerated, that was life changing too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Eddie Harris of Vinegar Hill, as well as Ready Kids, the
Mm-hmm.
Real Dads program that I was one
Okay.
of the first attendees of. Um, he would come in there and he would talk to me about fatherhood and showing up, and you know, also create ways for me to be able to provide for my children while incarcerated, as far as like gifts for
Mm-hmm.
holidays and, you know, communication wise and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a huge inspiration, seeing somebody that came from the same type of lifestyle and incarceration, lived experience, being able to come behind the bars and come and show that change and that growth, and definitely just inspiring a legacy, entrepreneurship, and all of that at the same time. I think you definitely want to have mentors in your life, you know what I mean? And just try to stick around, try to be around people that are doing what you want to be doing in life, and not having too much pride to, you know what I mean, learn and take from those people. And so, like with Freedom for Felons, that's definitely, things that we touch on in our men's support groups, fatherhood, and all of that. So if we definitely have, opportunity for that, and invite that for people that need that.
Yeah. Hey, from then to now, man, how big are you on? I know that's what Lionel does, man. So how big on you on like therapy, man? Like actually talking. Do you feel like it's? Cause me, I ain't never been to therapy, man. I never
Okay.
been. I'm not against it, but I just never been. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me, I feel like what we doing right here, or having just a group of guys, a group of people
Mm-hmm.
to just talk to. That's what I would consider be like my type of therapy. But
Yeah.
like, how you feel about like situation you've been in and where you've been in your life, man, like how do you feel about like therapy, man? Like, is that something you think is necessary, or you don't really subscribe to that the traditional way of therapy?
I agree with what you say. I think that there's so many different forms of therapy. Like
Mm-hmm.
myself and my homeboy, we had started a music studio, because when I was before aspiring youth, I wanted to do music. Like I was into music and things like that, and that was a form of therapy. And so we always said music is cheaper than therapy, right? But at the end of the day, like I say, it's different forms, and I feel like people should be open to different ways. But at the same time, I don't knock anybody's way or form of therapy. I've tried all at this point, and I think all of them were helpful in every way. And I think that sometimes you have to get to a certain place where you have to understand that hearing from somebody that doesn't know you can build you in a lot of different ways too. I think
Yeah.
it's a growth thing when it comes to that. For me, it was.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience talking to somebody that didn't even come from the same walk of life of me, and I felt free being able to talk and knowing for sure that this person don't know me, and you know what I mean.
Can't
So
judge.
I guess it's a different, yeah. So that's different for me, but I think that you should always be able to confide in your brothers. That's a different form of therapy, just like family. You know what I mean? I think you should be seeking it in all areas, just to be honest. But I don't knock anybody that feels like they don't want to speak to a stranger, because to each his own. I think everybody is different, so that's
Mm-hmm.
where I stand with that.
No, what
Yeah.
you say, man? You that's what you do, man. So what do you feel like where? Like I said, I like what he said. Where if
Yeah,
somebody
me
that you don't
too.
know, I feel like you can be more vulnerable with them. But then if somebody that ain't been where you've been or live where you live, maybe they can't relate to you the same
Mm-hmm.
either. So, like what you feel
Sure.
about like all those different avenues, man, when it comes to like, therapy.
No, hey, 100%, man. I agree with what Weedy was saying, man. I think it's so many different forms of therapy, and I do think when it comes to therapy, it's all about fit, honestly. But fit doesn't always have to be what's relatable.
Yeah.
But for some people, that matters, So it all really breaks down to the person. And the concept of therapy, when you really zoom out and look at it, it is weird. It's strange, right? I'm gonna go to this stranger I don't know nothing about. I'm gonna tell him my deepest, darkest thoughts and feelings,
Yeah.
and that is a strange concept. But the thing that I love about one going to therapy, but then also being a therapist, is a safe space that it should, the safe container that it should actually create. And I think that's what it's about, man. It's about the I like what you said, is it's the freedom, like the
Mm-hmm.
freedom of just saying what you want to say without the reservation that this is, I'm going to be judged for this, or this person's going to tell this one and going to tell that one. Because I think one of the main things that men and women and people just struggle with is vulnerability and safety and feeling seen. And therapy provides that. And so I try not to always, a lot of times, man, we get the single mother, like I want with a black son, I want a black male to work with my son. This is what I want. And I'm like, honestly, personally, I don't really think it matters. I think from a therapy standpoint, we're not mentors, right? Like, and sometimes for a little black boy with no father figure, a woman probably can get to him a little quicker than a man because he never really been around a man like that. So it's just it depends. It depends, and you just have to really speak to what you're comfortable with in that therapy room, which is going to allow you to open up more. So it certainly, I heard it all, and I seen it all, man. I seen the complete opposites, make some magic happen in a therapy room. And, I done seen two people who look alike. They just don't fit well at all together. So it just kind of depends, man. But it is I always tell all the new therapists coming up, man, that therapy is a very great space, right? Because it's not like one size fits all.
Yeah.
And, it varies based on preferences and the person.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, man. And I look at it the same way in the reentry field, like as like individuals like myself as being a peer, right? So like at the end of the day, when I say I have lived experience, that means in the reentry world that I've been incarcerated. You know what I mean? And so I know how it feels for brothers to come home and want to talk to somebody like themselves that's been incarcerated, opposed to going to a probation office where they still may be trying to help you, but their role is different, right? So, but what I try to say is you need a balance too, because you're trying to change, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I would say most people in the reentry space are trying to change, and they're trying to broaden their network. And I feel like you limit yourself to so much when you just deal with just one source from anything in life. And I'm big on humanity. So I'm like, we're all here for a reason at the end of the day. So we can learn so much from different people, seeing, especially thinking that we're so different, but we share so many similarities. So at the end of the day, I'm more open to learning about different people, and you know what I mean, being in that space, than to just always keep myself in one space.
Yeah, being open-minded is important. Go ahead, John, you about to say something?
No, I was gonna ask Weedy, man, when you was younger, man, and you ever see like you would be doing none of this stuff right here? You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't never think about, I know you said you was into like, you was always hustling, you was always trying to find some way to like, make some money, man. But as far as like what you doing for your community, what you doing for your peers, you know what I'm saying? Did you ever think like this is what I want to do, or you just wanted to, some of us wanted to be basketball players or rappers or lawyer, doctors, man. Like what you see, when you look back, like did you think like, I was thinking, I was feeling this way when I was younger. I felt like something like this is what I would be wanting to like gravitate towards.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know that I always was going to be an entrepreneur, and I feel like I always wanted to bring an opportunity, especially to my people. So I feel like I always wanted to put on for the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like music wise, whatever I did, I felt like, I wanted to represent for my people for sure. So I seen myself doing it in some light, but not in this field necessarily.
Yeah, we ain't know this.
Sure.
We ain't know this was even a field back then. I guess I was saying maybe just community, man. Like knowing, like somebody that people want to follow, somebody like that. That's how, like we younger. You all can tell when you a kid, man. Like the kid that kind of can get everybody to do good or do
I
bad.
always was that type of person. I would
That's how I
say
feel.
if people ask, like I always had a lot of different friends, and like I don't like to say followers for sure, but I always was a leader.
He's always a
For
leader.
sure.
Yeah, he's always the
Definitely was
leader.
always bringing something new and different. I don't know if it was just from just my difference from just my father and just where I was at in life and family experiences, like just being young, traveling, going to different states then. And you know what I mean? Like it was different. I had a definitely different experience coming up, especially like knowing that my father was from Trinidad and rarely talking to him over the years when I was younger. Talking to him, of course, but like not as much and fluently. Like my father, if you talk to my father, you might not understand what he says. That's how thick his accent is.
Yeah,
So once, we had that separation, my father and my mother agreed to make sure that we knew his side of the family as well. So that's why at a young age we were riding Greyhound buses and taking trains by ourselves, well together, but as a young kids to different
yeah,
states, like definitely in DC and Baltimore, where most of them were, and then we would spend a few weeks there, and then we would go to New York and spend a few weeks there. And so, like when I was young, I would always have stuff like clothes and different things that people from there that people didn't have out here and things like that.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I
That
just
was the thing.
traveled. I had a lot of experiences young, and I was like one of the first like drivers out of my crew when I was young too, like going places, doing things, throwing parties when I was real young, like inspiring it, definitely like always thinking outside. I always would have something fun to do, even from just the neighborhood, creating games, tag, like different types of tag games, just so many different things. You know what I mean? So people probably looked at me like fun, somebody that could be the life of the party at times, you know what I mean? And that's
What
really
you
what it was for
so
me.
what you do now, man? I know you. Hey, right now, see, for me, I feel like when you don't ever get to step out and do your thing like you used to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I don't really care to be in that scene
you
no
don't be in the
more,
mix,
as
man.
far as like in the party and all of that
Mm-hmm.
type of atmosphere. Like I don't mind going out, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? I will every now and then maybe step out, but I really don't get much from that. You know what I mean? I'm
yeah,
more on just going somewhere that's not around here for sure if I'm gonna go out and really have a
yeah,
good time, just because, you know what I mean, my experiences in life and just safety for myself, you know what I
yeah,
mean, like you can change. One thing I say is you can change, but you can't change people too, you know what I mean. And
yeah,
I'm a realist, like, so I understand like where I came from, and I understand what's going on in the community. So I don't put myself in that environment for a lot of
yeah,
reasons. You know what I mean? And so it's just better safe than sorry, for real.
yeah, yeah,
Especially it's just like in your own community, just like a lot of rappers. You know what I mean? It be your own community that do it to you. You know what I mean? So like some people, as much as y'all might like to see me being free and doing my thing, I'm one with reality to know that not everybody sees it the same, but not, I don't think about that,
Sure,
to be honest. I don't
sure.
worry about it, but
yeah,
that was it, you know, that's my thing. And I don't like
yeah,
to put, so even me, like now as a, I got my firearms back, my registration for my firearms back and things like that, which was a major major win for me. You know what I mean? I could never have seen myself being able to do that from my past and the things that, so like I protect that. I definitely have a sense of responsibility, you know what I mean, when it comes to things like that. So I just don't try to put myself in those type of environments where I would have to protect myself. You know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, well, why you
Mm-hmm.
think why you think that is, man? Because that's true, man. What you saying about you from here, man? You know what I'm saying? You do good in the community, man. You ain't causing no problems. We ain't causing no problems. What we doing, but like you talk about the rappers, man, the different people. It always happen like people in their community. Now, I know we know it's like, people ain't always happy for your success. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing good, you're doing too good. When you're doing bad, that's when you almost got all you got the most friends you ever had when you struggling, man. Everybody want to help you. Everybody want to, you know what I'm saying, want to, want to lend a hand, man. But I feel like that's kind of like we talk about like the mental health thing. I feel like that got something to do with it. But man, what you think about like why that's the case, man, for like here and everywhere it's like that?
It's so many different reasons for real, man. Because I can say that I was one of those lost individuals. I think that's really what it is. That a lot of people are detached, you know what I mean, from a lot of different things, you know what I mean. Mainly, spirituality is one thing, like lack of fear of God and structure in life. It's just that's why I say I stay out of those type of environments, because that's what it seems to attract, especially at those times and hours of the night. But it's a lot about like you said, the thing that the words that we put out. There's a lot of strength and power in words, you know what I mean? So being more mindful of that is important. But it's just like a lot of people are trying to live a lifestyle and portray a lifestyle and things like that, you know what I mean? And that's ultimately why people are doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? They see other people and they want to be like them, and they don't. A lot of the times they don't really know the reality of what's really going on. That's what I think.
You bring up a solid point, because one, man, that's a great answer, right? Because when you really look at why people do what they do, a lot of times they lost. But the thing that really stood out to me is that when you think about spirituality, like you have a value system, right? You have a belief system. You have something that's governing your steps. And a lot of people out here, like I always associate with like a leaf blowing in the wind. Like they got no type of like ground, no roots, no nothing, right? And they just going wherever, the wind blows. And a lot of times, like just the whole idea. I do think it's troubling, right, to see somebody doing well from their community, and they envy them and they jealous of their lives or whatever they assume it to be, and they envy it so bad that they don't even want them to have it. They can't have it, so I don't even want you to have it. That is a mental illness, man. I ain't seen one, but when you look back, man, you gotta put that in perspective, because the lack of spirituality, the lack of grounding, the lack of a belief system. You said something earlier. You said something too, like no fear in God. We wear these fancy clothes, fear of God, and we not even really putting in perspective what that really means. And we going outside, we doing all types of, all types of things. But I mean, it's in front of us, man. I think that has to be something that sits you down or grounds you, humbles you. And if you don't got that compass, man, you bound to do anything that's going to destroy your life and possibly somebody else's.
Yeah, subconsciously, you're projecting. You don't even know. You know what I mean? But once you're conscious of what you're projecting, it's hard for you to, like, you know what I mean, do anything else. So it's about awareness for sure, mindset, all that. You know what I mean? Most people that are really, doing well and winning in life, they love to see other people succeed. You know what I mean? To be honest.
Right.
So it's a lack in all areas. If you ask me, you know what I mean? I think it's just also like a lack of value in self for sure, like insecurity, you know what I mean? All of that. And that's why I don't post what I do a lot, and I really don't do it for that no more, because at one time in my life I was a materialistic type of person. And don't get me wrong, I like nice things and I like to look good, and presentable and things like that. But, there's more important things, you know what I mean? It's a time for everything. And so right now, like we touched on, it's about generational wealth and building a legacy, So I don't do things for people to see it, or, you know what I mean, just to talk about it. I'm definitely humble about it because it's a blessing that I'm able to do it. So, it's just all on why people are doing things, their intentions for why they do things. And that's key, you know what I mean, to why people are doing that stuff. But yeah, a
You,
lot of
you think,
lack of.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you think, man, if you never got, you know what I'm saying, took your left and got in some trouble, man, you think you would have figured it out without going and having to sit down, man? You think you would have still got here
Yeah,
without if you had
for
stayed out here?
sure. Yeah, I mean, for real, I'm smart, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, that's what
and
I mean. I
that's
figured.
another thing I want to touch on is like I was very educated, but I realize now that I didn't see myself in a lot of things in school, and that I definitely fell into that high school prison, from prison to high school pipeline. You know what I mean? And so from high school to prison pipeline. So, but at the end of the day, um, I saw a lot of things that type of structure that led to that, and that really started from like CSOs, you know what I mean, in the school, but really just people not knowing you, you know what I mean, not understanding you, a lack of understanding, you know what I mean, and labeling, a young labeling and criminalizing us as a youth, just young
Mm-hmm.
black boys and men as a whole. So I see when I look back, even somebody from myself to be educated, but to still have to go through the system is saying a lot. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say like basically like when I was in when I was younger, you know what I mean. Those CSOs, like we would just be having like a rap contest or something like that in school, and people will follow us around and things like that. And so just kind of like guilty by association if a fight broke out right then and there, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And so it was things like that really made a mark in my childhood young to make me have to go through those experiences, you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm sorry, I got a little off, but
They
nah,
good, man.
good, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I just be wondering that, man, sometimes, man, because they always say like you gotta sit down, you gotta go sit down and learn your lesson, man. Or if this didn't happen, and I like to feel like, you know, I never knew you to be like not a smart guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure when back when you was younger, you knew what you was doing, that it wasn't right, or you knew what was happening, man. You wasn't just out here just doing anything. Like I said, you was on top of everything that you was doing. So I just like to ask, if whatever happened, if it didn't happen, I feel like you could have figured it out without having to, do that time. 'Cause they always want to tell us like, going to jail can, it can be good for some people. Some people might do need to sit for a little bit
Yeah.
and reset, refocus. But I just feel like there's ways that we can get ourselves right without having to do that. And if we do
Hmm.
go, you can tell us, man, like what's happening then when you were there, or if you know now to like set people up when they do get out, man. Is it like some stuff in place that you think is good that's to get people
So
on the right path when they get out?
yeah, definitely two things. I do feel like my path was my purpose, though. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, like I had to go through what I went through to lead the way that I'm leading today in this way. But I do still feel like I would have been successful
Yeah,
if I wasn't incarcerated. But
yeah,
as far as like the difference in today and in the past. So when I was incarcerated and when I was released, there wasn't any really reentry programs out here that they would really outside of probation and parole. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like now with the program that I'm a part of, Home to Hope reentry program, which serves individuals that have been incarcerated within the last 5 years, and a lot of other nonprofits, like in the community, like the Fountain Fund and the Keys to Love, the Uru Foundation that has transitional housing and also mental health aspects and components to it. So, and there's a lot more. I don't want to like shout out and leave anybody out or whatnot. So it's a much better feel like now than it was before. So that's a good thing. Definitely, they have one stop shop events at the Jefferson where all of the reentry organizations come together for a few hours. Usually it's monthly, but it's been bi-monthly the last few months or whatnot. And I think the next one is in December 3rd, or it's definitely in December. So definitely look out for that. If you're looking to expand your network, learn a little bit about the reentry field and how you can help others or be an advocate, that's a good place to start for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, man, it's, you know, I can, I'm glad you said something, man, about what you went through helped kind of align you to your purpose. And I can see, man, that you're walking in your purpose, just your mental, your focus. You know, I'm a believer, firm believer of having a divine, you know, energy or you know, just being in our divine, our divinity, right? Being in the space that we're supposed to be in, doing what we're supposed to do, and however we get there, right? When you get there, you feel it and you lock in, and everything is clicking, and just kind of you hear you say, "Hey, I don't go out, I don't do this. Like I'm focused on the generational wealth." You know, and to think back, right, to when we was doing 5 links, right, that you didn't know freedom to felons was going to be what it is today, or you know, your whole life is shaped around reform. Which, when at that point you said you started using recycling, which is wild, right? Now your whole life is, and your mission in life is about reform, bro. That has to feel hella good that you're at this place doing what you're doing, what you love to do, what you're passionate, almost like what God has called you to do in some ways. To kind of see where you are now and doing. I mean, I'm hella proud of you, bro. Just kind of seeing how life is kind of moving. And not to say that we knew each other very personally, but I knew your story, knew, you know, what you was, you know, working on and working towards, right? And so it's dope to see where you are and what you're doing and what you're building. And John and I, we often like are really impressed by Charlottesville as we know it today, because from the country, right? Charlottesville always had the reputation of a different reputation in certain areas, but understanding what community's doing today in Charlottesville, not to say, you know, stuff still don't happen, but man, there's so many people that we know that are just doing some really great things for the community. And it's man, it's beautiful, bro. Like it's beautiful, man. Like just to see the amount of people that actually love the agree and giving back and feeding, not just taking away from it. So it's great to see it. It's good to see you part of that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree. I totally agree with that. I definitely want to say, like, as far as like with the 5 links, you know, relation and stuff like that. When I look back, everybody that was a part of that at that time are successful in some area of life for sure, is what I see. That played a part, and they all also have positive feedback about the experiences that we shared at that time. And I'm appreciative of where we're at, and I think that the more that we value each other and collaborate and communicate, the better things can get. You know what I mean? I think that we do need to start investing more with each other, and building that trust and putting the money together once we build the trust, because you know, until we come together, we're not going to really able to do, you know, the biggest things that we can really do. That's what I believe. So
yeah, I think we, like you said, Lana, we got a lot of, I mean, not we ain't from Charlottesville, but we close enough. But like in the area, man, in the Central Virginia area, man, it's a lot of people that's, you know, that's like they known, man. They known for doing something. A lot of people, like people we done talk to, everybody like got their own little lane, their own little thing that they doing. Everybody's like doing something that like they passionate about, man. It ain't people just out here doing something just to get money quick, just to get rich, just to get notoriety. People really doing like real community work, man. And like
Mm-hmm.
I never paid attention, or it just wasn't like that before. But it's like everywhere you look, man, somebody doing something, giving back, somebody doing something like positive. Like the nonsense ain't really like at the front no more, man. Like you will hear about something that happened in a different little area here or there around here, but the positive stuff is way louder than it used to be, man. Used to, like you said, I live 15 minutes from Charlottesville, and you would go and you ain't really, it wasn't New York City, but it wasn't safe around there all the time. We was younger, man. You know what I'm saying? You just wasn't moving around freely like you can now, man. People just, it's more like you said, people onto their wealth more, man. People more into their mental health. People more into their physical health. People more into like spirituality. And it's just like you said, I don't know how when it changed up, but like
Mm-hmm.
now, like when I go to the Tonsula, to the games, man, it's like I don't have no weedy, man. But hey,
Yeah, yeah,
when we go to
yeah,
those games, man, it's
yeah.
more community out there, man. Ain't nobody
Oh
really
yeah.
tripping no more, man. People ain't really looking over their shoulder. Ain't no, it ain't nothing out there, man. Everything is, the way it's supposed to be.
Not facts, not facts. I mean, it's great. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like you said, I don't know when the change happened, man, but to see the community come together, it's good to see it, man, and just to see, just the positivity around it, because everything that goes on up there is positivity. Like when we talked about that, the one stop shop,
Yeah,
um, we went up there not for that event, but we were there for another event, and we just happened to roll in there, man, and just kind of see that reentry energy. And I had talked to my dad. I'm like, man, you need to go tap in.
mm,
You ain't doing nothing. Like
yeah,
crying. I need this. I need to do this. I'm like, man, you need to plug in. I told him to plug in with Weedy because
yeah,
you need to talk to people. Maybe you can do some advocacy stuff. You don't know what resources are there for you, what you can do.
yeah,
Because when I look back at just the people I know who've been in and out of prison, right?
mm,
9 times out of 10, man, they're not going for the full 180, right? They'll hit you with a 120, they'll hit you back with a 100, a 190, right? But the change isn't consistent or lasting
yeah,
or long standing.
yeah.
And but
Temporary.
it's temporary, bro. And so they get comfortable and then they back doing, what they used to. So but really to see that overall reform and that change, man, it's big, man. It takes a lot, I imagine. I mean, I know how hard it's for me to change some of the basic things, right? You
I know,
combo
man.
with them,
But
man. Yeah.
last thing I was gonna say, if he do come back, man,
Hmm.
I can't remember what it was, man. It was about like we were just talking about the people that like, when we go in and they don't really be all the way, you know what I'm saying, legit when they get out. They be good
Hmm.
for the moment, and
Hmm.
then I was wondering, like I was gonna ask him, but you think, do they ever really leave you, man? You know how he said he stay away from it. But should
Hmm.
you? And that's smart to stay away from that crowd. You,
Yeah,
you never know
yeah.
what people got on their mind. But like, far as like, say somebody's an addict, say somebody got alcohol problem. Can you
Hmm.
ever be really that like? So you got a sex addiction, you're cheating on your husband, wife. Can you ever really be
Hmm.
that like reformed to where you can go anywhere, be in any environment, and be
Nah.
good? Would you think like
Nah.
even like in therapy, man, people can be like, if I'm an alcoholic, or I like to smoke whatever. I'm say I'm sober, or I say I'm good on that, but I can't go around it. Or I can like, so that's when I feel like you really reform, when you can go in any
Yeah.
environment and it's like, yeah, I'm
I
cool.
think that's the goal, bro.
Yeah.
But I be real. Shit, don't take no test. You're not gonna pass. You feel me?
Yeah.
Maybe, and that's the key for the day. Don't take a test. You know you're not gonna
Yeah, man.
pass.
That's what
You
I
know,
feel like. I was thinking the
yeah,
other day, man, I was like, man, just because we was gonna talk to him, and I think about people that's always like, we gotta ask him, man, before we go.
yeah.
But this is my question, man, before we go, man. I was just telling Lionel, do you ever think, man, that somebody is really truly ever like fully reformed? Meaning, if if you was into somebody was in the streets, they was in the gangs, they was in the drugs, they was in the alcohol, whatever, sex addiction, anything. I feel like it's hard to really be fully reformed. You just got to stay out of those situations. And I'm telling Lana, do you think that you could ever be, well, whoever you are, you ever think you can really truly be reformed where you can go in any environment? If I can go in a crack house and I ain't tripping, like I'm in here, like whatever going on in here, I'm cool. What you think, man? You think you can ever? I mean, maybe you are. Can you go in anywhere, whatever you used to do, and still be like, hey, I'm in a place where I used to be uncomfortable, but I'm good. I'm cool, man. I'm all the way 360, man.
That's a great question. I feel a couple ways about that. I gotta be real. So you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
one example, like that myself and my mentor shared was going inside the jail after being released and
yeah.
coming
I ain't think
in
about
on a
that. I
different
ain't think
term,
about that.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
trying because before the pandemic, we were going into the jail, and that was my
Mm-hmm.
first experience doing what my mentor was doing for me inside of there. So, you know, that was full circle for me, but it was also like damn, like I put myself in harm's way for sure. It was a lot of pride involved in that for sure. You know, because I could have honestly I put myself in danger. Me knowing the jail and knowing, you know, how it goes, like basically like we went into inside of a dormitory area where there was supposed to be reentry, and everybody that was in there was not coming home. So that's not reentry, if you ask me. You know what I mean? A
Nah.
reentry
Right.
mindset should be around other people that are coming home. And I think that that's a big problem that they have inside of the institutions is they don't it's about like security level and things like that. Because even when I was young, when I was real young and I only had 4.5 years, I was still doing time with lifers and in the cell with them, and you know what I mean, things like that. So
Yeah.
to your point, I still didn't feel comfortable going in there, but I knew why I was doing it, the purpose and everything. But I can't say that I ever felt comfortable really being in there. You know what I mean? But as far as like on the outside, like in the streets, like going to
Yeah.
neighborhoods that I, you know, did dirt in or
Yeah.
being wherever, like I'm comfortable, like, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm not, I don't fear it at all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like I said, I'm still aware of, you know what I mean, reality of what can happen when you put yourself in them circumstances. But yeah, no, it's a slippery slope when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Because everybody has their own triggers, is what how I identify the terminology that we use in the reentry and substance use field. You know what I mean? It's triggers, like things that could take you back to where you
Yeah.
were before. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
some people can deal good with them and some people can't at all. So you just got to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and just be aware of that for sure. It's awareness. It's all about awareness.
Yeah, Lana, I like what you said, man. When you was gone week, Lana was like, he said, don't take a test that you know you might not pass, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
For
he's
sure.
saying, don't put yourself in them situations. If you don't know, if you got a question, like, man, I don't know, then you probably don't need to do it. You don't need to be in
Yeah,
that
because
environment.
I'm far from perfect. So I like for anybody that's saying it, like I've had my slips as far as like
Yeah,
things that I wouldn't that I don't want to be like
yeah,
reacting in ways that I didn't want to react, but it's still very far from where I was before. You know what I mean? So like I just that's why I just try to like not go in those type of environments, because I mean, at the same time, I am still the same person. You know what I mean? But, you know, I want to be different. I strive to be different. I sacrifice to be different. You know what I mean? And make better and smarter decisions and choices. You know what I mean? But that's where I'm at with that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough,
Hey,
though.
that was what I had, man. I was just
It's an
thinking about
everyday
that.
struggle.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was
It ain't
thinking about
easy.
today. I gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta see what you feel about that, man. Because I was just thinking about that with everything, man. Somebody that's, you know, alcohol, drug abuse, whatever, man. Even like I said, something simple as, man, just your relationships with your wife, your, whoever your partner, different things, man. Anybody that's trying to be on the right path, man, you always, what they say, it's a work in progress, like every day. You know what I'm saying? So from the most legals, from illegal stuff to just shit, your diet, working out, anything, man. Like you always gonna slip up, you know what I'm saying? You always gonna, take a couple steps back, but as long as you know what I'm saying, keep getting up, keep pushing, man, you're gonna get where you're supposed to be at.
Cause you can't unknow what you know, or you can't unsee what you've seen. You know what I mean? All of that. So it's like you be lying to say like you like certain thoughts or from the past haven't ever touched your mind with certain things. So it's like we all human, but you just have to prioritize, you know what I mean, and just try to be aware and more proactive than reactive.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, man, I think that's the most important. Like you said, awareness too, man. So yeah, we appreciate that, man. But yeah, man. Hey, look, we appreciate it, man. We I mean, like I said, man, been a long time, man. But
man.
it's good. It's good that we can connect like this. It's good that we can, you know what I'm saying, give back and get on something positive, man. That just to do something that like we said, man, it's time for us to. We don't got to wait for nobody else to tell our stories for us. We don't got to have nobody else, preaching a narrative that's not, that's old. That's not a new narrative. It's not representative of where we at right now, man. So, like I said, man, we salute what you're doing, man. We see what you're doing, man. Keep doing everything you've been doing, man. Everything is, what you're doing is dope, man. It's necessary, man. And you know what I'm saying? We salute it, man. So before we roll, man, I let Lionel. I don't know if Lionel told you before, man, but let Lionel let you close it out for us, man. So Lionel, man, what you got, man?
Yes, sir, man. So, man, just to piggyback real quick on John was saying, bro, we appreciate you pulling up, and hey, definitely, man, love everything you doing. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Super proud of you. Hey, man, whenever you're ready to have us on your pod too, just let us know as well, right? We definitely love the support.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so yep. So real quick, yeah, it's facts. And so what I want before we wrap up, we like to have all our guests give a key for the day. And so this is just something that's inspirational, motivating, something for the listeners to take with them, and hey, man, open some doors for themselves. So what you got for the people?
I would just say, delay is not denial, for sure. You know what I mean? Stay at it. Second chances, give people a second chance. People deserve it. Some people might need a third or fourth chance. It's just about chances, you know what I mean? And humanity, you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm pushing out here in the world.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Delay is not denial.
Yeah, man.
It's fire. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
man. Hey, like I said, man, we appreciate it. Hey, y'all check out follow we, man, Freedom for Felons. That's what it is, right?
Freedom for Felons. Yep. We're on YouTube, man.
He's doing his thing out here, man. He pushing positivity, man. He pushing community positivity. And like we said, hey, we all need to reform we need to reform every day, man. So we salute what you're doing, man. We appreciate you, man. And hey, we'll catch you when we see you on your side, man.
That's a fact, man. We're gonna do that, man. And shout out to y'all, man, and everything that you're doing. And shout out to my co-host Rico Harris, also, that y'all will meet too when y'all come through for the Freedom for Felons podcast. So
yes, sir.
Salute.
Man. Hey, man, appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Peace. Bro.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Yeah.
How can you pretend? Now rocking with the